What's going on YouTube? It is Luke Waters back in the YouTube video out in the garage. It's a very windy day outside, or I'd have the garage door open because it's actually decently nice outside. But today, we're gonna talk about the top mistakes I made while LSA swapping the Caprice. And honestly, okay, so I try to make 3 videos now where I'm doing something with the car, where I'm trying to fix the things I did before. And every time I go to work on this thing, something just turns around to bite me in the butt. And today, I was really excited because I got these really cool heat shrink crimps in the mail, but I got the wrong size wire. Now, if I could go back, I would have just gotten wire extensions. And what that is it's basically like extensions for certain plugs for under the hood. And 2 of them you need is the map sensor and the throttle body position sensor, which is this one here and that one here. Normally they plug in over here and this thing's over here. So you gotta extend the wires just a little bit. And as you can see, my map wires are actually cut open right now and they're all cut up right there. The plan was to make a video today on extending those wires, but obviously nothing worked out. I tried to heat shrink them together and the size difference is too great, and then I ended up melting one of the heat shrinks on, so it just did not work out very well. But I tell you what, man, I got myself a Harbor Freight heat gun. I think it could pump out some freaking heat. So obviously the first thing that I would change about my LSA swap is just to get wire extensions. They're online. I think they're like 40 bucks a piece. And by the time I'm buying the right wire, buying the right heat gun, buying the right crimps to make it all nice and clean, it would have been cheaper to just get the wire extensions. So something to definitely think about if you plan on LSA swapping anything and you need to extend the wires. Just go online and just buy the wire extensions online. It's cold. It's weird, it's not cold in here, but you can see my breath. It's kind of strange. Another mistake I made in swapping the LSA on is I bought the cheapest pulley system for the supercharger possible. I'm gonna go over real quick on why that was a super bad and honestly a really expensive mistake. The kit I bought was for an LS3 Camaro, and I didn't realize the kit was supposed to be for a two belt system. So what that does is it eliminates your third belt. For me, I think that's really stupid. You should always have 3 belts with a supercharged setup to avoid slipping or this like that. So now I have a $500 paperweight because obviously nobody wants to buy these things. When in reality, I should have got the LSX Concepts. They have one that goes simply right here, or just bought a stock CTSV belt kit system. That was a big mistake. And now I said I'm eating the price of this thing. You know, I got a $500 paperweight. Like I said, if anybody wants to buy this, 100 bucks, it's yours, whatever. I don't want it anymore. I mean, it worked, it got the job done. It's just not what I wanted for this car. I wanted an 8-rib setup. I want it to be nice. I want it to be like a legit car, not just a half-ass thing I threw together, which is what I ended up doing anyway. One other thing I would change about doing this LSA setup is I would actually run these coolant lines a little bit differently. Now, a lot of LSA cars have them on the passenger side, and as you can see, it is an absolute cluster in here to get to anything. Whereas if you come over here, you have all this room where you could have ran the coolant lines. Now in hindsight, you're like, oh, well, why don't you just flip it around? But to do that, you gotta take off the front bumper, you gotta move the heat exchanger, you gotta twist it. I mean, it's easy to do, I could probably do it in a day, but I guess in hindsight, you don't really think about that kind of stuff. So if I ever do take off the front bumper, I'm probably gonna move the heat exchanger over, and I would actually tuck that in a little bit more. I mean, it looks kind of cool hanging out, but I mean, is it kind of like ricer looking? Kind of makes you feel like a little bit of a ricer having a massive intercooler sticking out the front of the car. Something else I would have done differently is while this snout was off, I would have pressed on a 2.5-inch supercharger pulley. That was part of the plan in the very beginning, but like I said, I just want to get this car running. So I just threw it together, started it up, drove it a few times, and I parked it again, which was, like I said, I'm now wasting more time taking it apart to do something right. I guess the biggest thing, guys, if you are LSA swapping an LS car, don't cut corners. Take your time. Get the right stuff, because like I said, now I'm at the point where it's like I got a lot of stuff to do to this car before I even get it running. Because originally the winter plan was just new valve covers and a pulley system, but now I need to do the wiring, and I'm not doing valve covers anymore. As you can see, I actually have the valve covers back on with the stock brackets. I got new brackets, drilled new holes, and it actually sits pretty good. So you know what? I'm not even worried about the valve covers anymore. I'll get new ones when I can. Turns out the Holley ones are really cheap and chintzy. they like to leak. So either I get Motion Racework ones, which are insanely expensive, or I get stock LSA ones used, but like I said, no one's selling those. So the stock ones I'll have to do for now. Save me a little bit of money in the long run, and that's not something that's causing an issue with the car. I mean, that's fine. They're not going anywhere. Something else I would have done differently was done more research on what fuel systems support cams and pulleys. Now what I mean by that is I have a BTR Stage 4 cam with a stock pulley, and my injectors were screaming for mercy. Oh, and check out this little clip. Guys, look at this. I just made a huge discovery. It's supposed to look like that. The freaking injector O-ring wasn't even on the car right. So, which, I mean, I'm glad I found that out now, because if there was a severe leak and there was shooting fuel everywhere, that would have been really, really bad. And it's crazy how expensive injectors can be. Now, if I want to buy something brand new, it's going to be like $1,000 for a set of injectors. I just don't have that kind of cash. So the plan is to find some used ones for cheaper. Like I said, when we were tuning it, I was running out of fuel and I didn't realize how weak the stock LSA injectors are. I knew it wouldn't support E85, but even on 93, they were like 100% duty cycle, which that's no bueno. I don't think you want to be over like 70 or something. I mean, 70 is sketchy. It's nonetheless 100%. If the injector were to fail, this car would go kaboom real quick. Another thing I wish I would have done in the beginning was have a better intake system set up. So last year I had the rotofab kind of going over to here. It worked okay, but my intake temps were kind of high. And like I said, I wish I would have had this mapped out better, so I had a nice 5-inch going down into the fender well. Obviously every car is different. I could probably get a G8 one, but you know what? I'm gonna have my buddy make me a custom cold air intake for this thing. That way I know it'll work and it'll look good. Something else I wish I would have known about before I LSA swapped this car was how seriously fragile these bricks are. Now, if you buy a used brick, for the love of God, please get it pressure tested before you put it on the car. I didn't do it to mine, and mine went, well, you guys know what happened. But I didn't realize it until I started adding coolant into it. I'm like, man, this thing's taking an awful lot of coolant, and then we pulled the lid off, and what do you know? There's a bunch of coolant in the engine. Luckily, the motor's fine. I got extremely, extremely lucky. This car is so forgiving, man. Like, I could really screw up on everything, and this car would just be like, it's all right, it happens. But that pretty much sums it up. It's just a couple of things that I tried to take shortcuts on, and now I'm paying the price later on. Like I said, I was gonna have a whole video planned on fixing the wiring today. Like I said, that didn't work out. I was gonna have a video on the injectors. That didn't work out. A lot of things. I've had a lot of videos made that I don't use because something happens that stops me in my tracks. And like I said, it's my own fault. No, not blaming anyone else. It's just improper research. But now I know, I'm starting to learn my lesson. You know, I'm just gonna take it as a loss today. I'm not buying anything else today. I've already spent enough money on stuff that doesn't work. So I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead, you know, do some more research and get some stuff figured out for this car. If you guys have any suggestions on what I could do with this wiring, because now that I don't have the extensions, I can pretty much run this any way I want to now. Before, I had it running over and across up here, but I do have an opportunity to do something a little bit cool with that. Maybe I'll make a wiring and I'll kind of tuck it in right here underneath everything to keep it hidden. Basically at this point, this is the only wiring I'm gonna do because I didn't realize it was gonna be this much of a chore to fix this. And all the other wiring is not as bad. This one was especially bad because one of these wires actually popped off. So, I mean, I think these are smaller than everything else. I think these are a little bit thicker. But like I said, this isn't actually too bad. I had heat shrink around all of them, so I think that's gonna be okay. But yeah, guys, and then I made the video with the intake temp sensor. I might do this one as well because it's just 2 wires. I mean, that'd be a quick fix. But like I said, I gotta order the right wire now. It's just been nothing but one thing after another with just improper research. So if you are LSA swapping, take your time, do your research, figure out what size wires go to where. I am not an electrician, although I did install a new light in my kitchen the other day and it works. But like I said, I'm terrible with wiring. This is something that's kind of completely new to me. It's really kind of biting my butt right now. It's kind of burning a hole in my pocket. Like I said, every day this car sits that it's not running just makes me a little more anxious because, I mean, we're in January and it hasn't really moved much. We're running out of time here. It's gonna be spring before I know it and this thing's still not gonna be running. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just gonna take my losses today, but learn from my mistakes. If you're out there and you have a G8 or you have a Camaro or whatever, and you're like, oh, I can get this, cheap pulley system and I can get this, that, just do it right. Just do it right the first time, because now I'm losing money on trying to take shortcuts. So learn from me, don't be like me, don't make the same mistakes. The pulley system thing really kind of drove me nuts because they said it was for the LSA Camaro, which I mean, these are the same front ends, pulley systems, it should be the same. But they advertised it as, it was like a 6-rib setup, but it didn't really tell you what it replaced. And the pictures online were super misleading. I'm not gonna lie, I don't wanna say I got scammed, but I feel like I was misled on what I was getting from a product. So I will not recommend that product to anybody. But I will say one thing about it. If you were like doing like an old like G-body swap, like an LS swap on an older car or like a truck, that would probably be a lot better. It just doesn't look good. It's not appealing at all. And it was just a big waste of money, which really sucks because I could use that money right now to fix other problems with this thing. But I'm gonna stop complaining. You know, it is what it is. I mean, you live and learn. Sometimes you learn lessons the hard way, and I'm learning a lesson the very hard way. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys learned anything new, or you have any comments or suggestions on what you should do with the LSA swap, please leave them down in the comment sections down below. It has been Luke Waters, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully, I can have the right stuff to make a video. Like I said, it's been like 3 videos in a row where something's gone wrong that didn't work out. So hopefully next video, I'll have something good for you guys. As always, been Luke Waters. I'll see you guys in the next video.